If I was Palestinian, I would be fighting Israelis for the crimes they perpetrated against my people. If I were Irish, I would be fighting the British for the crimes they perpetrated against my people. If I were a victim of those injustices, those thefts and genocide, it would be my duty, an issue of my honor, and a life dedication to free my brothers and sisters from the criminal actions of the Israelis and the British. But I am a Mexica, and Aslan does not look like Northern Ireland or like Palestine, occupied and stolen, under oppression. I am Mexica, and the only dead bodies I see are those of the Chicano gangs. Chicanos killing other Chicanos. Gangs killing our people. Every day, every week, every year, hundreds killed. It does not look like Palestine or Ireland, but this is worse than Palestine or Ireland. Here, foreigners, Europeans, and their descendants also come and say our land is theirs, that we are aliens on our own land, and we say, okay, yes, this is your land. We have been taught to say that. We accept oppression, racism, and theft. They are imposed on us every day. Their death is upon us. The new slavery is upon us. Humiliation they impose upon us, and we cannot see it. We do not want to see that humiliation. We are smelling only the roses, not the fact that they are the roses of our own funeral. The roses stolen from our garden, and we gladly pay for our own roses. We pay for something that is rightly ours. To ask where the roses came from seems a rude question to ask. A coward finds it a crude question to ask. I am telling you where the roses come from. And all you can tell me is how beautiful is the smell of roses, and how you are going to buy, gladly pay for some more of what is already ours. Olintes Calipoca.
Nelyollotl Toltecatl is a muralist, painter, writer, leader for our people. He has been there by Olin's side for 18 years, which makes him the most senior member that we have. And he has dedicated his time, his life, and he brought his beautiful family with him today, just to show you that love that we have for our people, and that our family is actually here, which is a beautiful concept for us. And if you see some of the art surrounding you, he is the one behind that art. He makes signs, poster signs. Before Carlos, we would hand make our protest signs. And so Nelyollotl was the one that would spend hours upon hours doing that. The Anahuac mural, located behind Roosevelt High School, it is a historical mural. It gets rejected, it gets ignored, because obviously it doesn't fall to white supremacy and the acceptance of the genocide. But it still stands. It's been attacked. It's been vandalized consistently, and it's sad because we don't have white people coming over here to destroy the mural. It's our own people, lost in gangs. There was even a gang called Aztec Nation, and they tagged the mural to give you an idea of how fucked up we are. And so that mural represents to us a historical, it's kind of like a reflection of the organization, that no matter what happened, he kept painting and painting and painting. I even helped him paint sometimes. Not as good as him, but that's the struggle of the movement, is we keep going. We keep going, no matter the setbacks, no matter the attacks, no matter the vandalization of our organization, whether it be emotionally, physically, whatever it is, we keep going. We keep painting, we keep marching, we keep talking, we keep screaming, we keep protesting. And that's what's got us here. for the last 20 years. So with that, I would like to take this over to Nelyollotl, Toltecatl.
I always like to, at every presentation, I always emphasize the whole thing is that this is what we're participating now. It's like very historic. Because 20 years from now, as you know, as Olin always stressed, it's like 10 years, 5 years will go fast. I remember he always stressed that. He was, you know, you better do stuff right now, now that we're young, and do things, especially for what we're doing as a movement. You know, trying to create awareness for our people. And yeah, I started in '96, and for me, this, like Citlali said, like, when you first read the handbook, and for me it was kind of like an interesting connection, the way I connected with Olin. And it turns out Beto used to go to high school with me, and then at the time I was painting the mural, but I was painting something because I was more like a nationalistic for me as a kid. You know, I wanted to paint something that was, you know, for me it was like algo de ser mexicano. And then, so anyways, that was a connection. We ended up just by pure chance. Beto was walking by the mural, and he sees me across the street, and it turns out it was him and some other guy. I used to have like an art thing at high school. We had an AP studio art, and it turns out that I knew these two guys, and then Beto was the one that would participate with me, and the Mexica Handbook in his car. And he's telling me about, you know, the organization. He's telling me about the Mexica, and then he's telling me about Toltecatl, and he wrote it down for me, and I go, is it like a phrase? What is that? And then so he's telling me, you know, we have more history, and you know, and I go, yeah, I understand it, but for me it didn't click. For me it was like, okay, what is this guy trying to tell me? Until I saw the handbook in his car, and it caught my attention. And that was precisely why Olin actually did it as a handbook. He didn't put it in color, he made it black and white. So I saw it, and I go, okay, you know, oh, that's interesting. I had read other stuff and taken Chicano classes in high school, but nothing came close to what he had put down in the book. And for me, it was like, I want to know who wrote this. And from there, you know, I started connecting with Olin, and I've been involved ever since 1996. So the end of '96. But anyways, kind of like, this is something that we gotta stress. The whole point is that time just flies. Time goes real quick. And if you don't do anything right now for your people, and if you're thinking about it, you know, time's gonna go by so quick. And one day when you're getting ready to die, you're gonna say, I didn't do anything. You know? And I could have done something. So anyways, with that, let me No, I could do it. You know, like I said, 20 years had gone by so quick and so fast, and for me it was always asking Olin, well, how is it that, you know, because this book doesn't get developed just like that. Someone had to have the knowledge, the insight, someone had to have the guts, someone had to have the time, the experience to write something that was so profound that it's hated and it's loved. And it's hated by our enemies, it's hated by even some of our own people because they can't stand the truth. And so through the years I asked them, who was it that inspired you? What was it that gave you that push? And because there had to be someone. And Olin always mentioned this gentleman named Joe Sanchez. And Joe Sanchez was, you know, like I put, unknown hero. This person was someone that did not like the attention, someone did not like, you know, he was doing something because it was for the goodness of his heart. He actually wanted to help his people. Joe Sanchez had a lot of connections, a lot of people, the movers and the shakers, políticos. But with all this, he was a dedicated man. He didn't like vendidos, but he knew he had to work And it gets really emotional for me because I was thinking about this. If it wasn't Joe Sanchez, meaning Olin, it was a perfect connection. And because I always ask Olin, I mean, what is it that pushed certain ways of thinking into our community, the whole Hispanic, Latino? And as you can see on the left-hand side, he helps our people, funding them, supporting politicians, because he thought politically that was the best way to do things. Was involved with associations to push for more inclusiveness for our people. Is involved in helping our people going back to the 50s, 40s. And I remember meeting this great man and walked to the mural one day, and he said, Olin is one of the persons and one of the people I met that is genuinely doing this for our people. He genuinely wants people to learn, and he genuinely wants to teach people so they could, I understood what he was saying. And he talked about the racism that happened in the 40s in LA, where people couldn't cross Maine and certain areas in LA because they were excluded from that. If it happens where you cross certain street, you were taken, and pretty much you can imagine the racism. But then all along I'm thinking about how he looks güerillo. Because if you look at him from far away, unless you got close, he's one of ours. But imagine the racism that actually went to the people that didn't look like him. So, this is like a very, very important, some of the synchronization that happened with Olin and him. If he wouldn't have met him, I don't think maybe we wouldn't be here talking about this. That's why it becomes emotional for me. During this time, Olin is talking to Joe, and Joe's basically telling him, we need to form an organization, something along the lines of the Nation of Islam. Something where it's going to scare people, scare bandidos, and we're going to push for stronger, so our voices could be heard. So this is addressed to Olin, and Olin thinking about it, he said, okay. And so Olin's looking at this, and this is he meets him in 1986. In 1987, he started realizing that, this is the beginnings of the Mexica Movement, pretty much, unofficially. You can see 1991, Olin is protesting almost for the monstrosity that he created in American me. They protest together against Telemundo and Univision. Those were like the first beginnings. They start challenging also the bandidos who want to make, Luis Valdez in 1993 started to create a movie about Frida Kahlo where they're using Italians, non-Nicantlaca people. And also, this is like one of the beginnings, you could say, of officially, or where it's noted where we're already challenging the Hispanic and Latino terms. And as you can see, not Hispanic, not Latino, in August of 1995, there's a press release. Joe Sanchez and Olin get together, and they're realizing there's a lot of racism in movies and TV. There's nothing being, there's an exclusion of our people. We're not being properly represented on TV, even though we're the majority. So these are the beginnings of this whole, challenging this racism amongst our people, as far as in a organized way. Olin mentions that the first time it was like in 1989, 1990, where you have all these movers and the shakers in LA. The whole room is filled with people, and Joe and Olin they're challenging this Hispanic term that's being pushed around in there. And eventually Joe sends out some sort of document or something where it circles around where all his friends or these politicos or the people that he knows, and it becomes where he gets attacked. He gets, pretty much, this guy's crazy, and why are we not Latino? Why are we not Hispanic? There's another woman that also Olina mentioned over the years, Virginia Reed. Don't let the last name fool you. She was a Nicantlaca. And those were the terms were already, they were trying to deconstruct, they were trying to throw away this whole Hispanic. But Virginia Reed was the one that basically brought in the whole Latino also. She said, no, you got to challenge the Latino. At one time I was okay, well, let's take it one at a time, let's take Hispanic. No, we should challenge also Latino. And basically after Joe realized that these bandidos were out to get him because, they were passionate about this, preserving this whole Latino and this whole Hispanic ideology or ignorantly thinking that was their identity as well. And I remember this time in 1993, I wasn't part of the Mexica Movement, but I remember that it was covered somewhat in Univision. And you can see Olin, it's on the top picture there. That's Olin, younger Olin. And Joe Sanchez is right behind this gentleman who has the microphone there. You can see him in the back. That's Joe Sanchez, younger also. So that was kind of like something that had to be done.
And that's Virginia Reed, actually, the
Is
one
that-
in the white skirt.
Oh, interesting. That's the first time okay. And so anyways, they came out and eventually exigen a Cubanos, to apologize for what they burned the Mexican flag during this time. Gortari was the president of Mexico. What happened? There was balseros who were trying to get to the area of Veracruz, and it turns out that they were deported. So in Miami, the hub of the right-wing Cuban Gusanos, they started burning Mexican flags. They were outraged that was done to them. But really, they didn't really care about it because the majority of the Gusanos in Miami or Cubans in Miami are really white. But they were really concerned to turn this into a political fiasco because of their anger towards Cuba, their anger towards Castro. So this is kind of like a perfect thing for them. And so, basically, our people had to come out and say, you know what, if we don't do anything, then these Cubans are going to run all over us, which they still do. But then after, grupos cubanos lamentan la quema de banderas, basically they were forced to apologize. The top it says Midnight Special Bookstore. And this is another kind of like another element of how all this developed, how the Mexica Movement eventually came into being. And the Midnight Special was another important element into this because the Midnight Special was a venue where people participated in political, kind of cultural, and Olin worked there. So turned it into something that it could be the interest for our people. So it's also served as a political, cultural platform for our people. Here's where Olin developed this introduction to the Nahuatl. This is in February 1994. There was a black and brown unity formed. By the way, these are the Chicano Mexicano dialogues. This is going back in 1994. So Lino also introduced on your right at the very top. This is one of the biggest collection of Nicantlaca literature. This Saturday, this place, the Midnight Special Bookstore, was closed because of funding and couldn't afford the high expense. But the book area there was really impressive. You go there and you find pretty much literature, primary sources, things that you don't normally find in Barnes and Nobles or anything like that. And so Kamante for Olin, for pushing and stuff like this is basically they take it out to our community. And sadly, there was people who went there and didn't realize how that got developed. And in fact, they'll go and attack Olin, but then at the same time, they'll go buy some books. You know, not realizing that it was Olin who actually pushed for that literature to be included in the Midnight Special Bookstore. But it's also important to know that the Midnight Special Bookstore, there was like the access to have a place to go and bring all these people, these leaders of our people, and only want to get to the point where, okay, we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to get to the point where we got to find a solution for the condition of our people. And this is when Olin met Fermín Herrera. Mind you, Olin had already participated in other ways or other organizations, and to push for the betterment of our people. And one thing he realized is that, okay, so we are in our land. So what I'm trying to say here is that the whole philosophy, the whole idea, where everything came about. How is it that you get to the point where you say, you know what, this is who we are as a people. This is our heritage. This is what we should be fighting for. So he knows that we're in our land. He knows the history. But there's something that doesn't click, because you gotta understand this whole mestizaje ideology keeps us enslaved mentally. And while you think that you're a mestizo, while you still glorify the Spanish rape on our people, you never cross that. There's like a threshold, this thing that where you gotta cross. It's like a mental blockage. It doesn't let you. And that's a poison that we were infested for 500 years. If once you cross that, then you realize that what you have to do. And for me, I always kept asking me, but wouldn't you realize that we're in a bad shape, and wouldn't you realize you have to do this? And then he realizes that Fermín is talking about the Nahuatl that we speak in the Spanish language that we use right now. And for him it was like they say the aha moment. For him it was, so we're still speaking Nahuatl. We're still in our own land. We're eating the foods for thousands of years. So damn you, this mestizaje, damn you, this colonialism, damn you. So this is what the development, and you can say the beginning where everything just makes sense. It was like this whole piece of a puzzle that was missing. And once he connected that, that's when then around this time the Mexica Movement becomes officially in 1993, August of 1993. Interesting on that date, because that's the date that the Spanish destroyed Tenochtitlan. And that was basically the idea, is that this is when we got to rebel. When you destroy something, then we got to lift the Macuawi, or lift, in this case, the knowledge, that's going to serve to liberate us as a people. So 1995, Olin writes the Mexica Handbook. And during this time, through the meetings of other people that come around, and Olin's pretty much mentally, he's making notes. Okay, people are talking about, look, this handbook that you created, this is some strong stuff. Why doesn't it become a part of a website? So basically the website was thanks to the handbook. And during this time, Olin also is noted for changing his name to abandoning the slave European name to Yaocuicatl Tlacaelel, now what name? And that's pretty much another step that he took for cleansing himself from this European domination. That happened on November 30, 1995. Around that time, 95, 96, that's when the website is open. Interesting that Arlene had mentioned that during this time, the first attacks that came through the website, one of the first attacks was someone from Mexico City. One of the guys that basically gave us props and saying kudos and said, hey, you guys are doing good, came from Europe. The irony of this, right? And so, you know, the website's been around for a while, and obviously we you know, people don't like it, some people like it, we get attacked, but it's helped us in the outreach for gaining more coverage and more of our history being spread out. During this time, we set up the Alvaro Street, where we're taking all this information. We're creating T-shirts, posters, flyers. We're going out there and basically doing outreach to our people. This is pretty much the training for us. You know, talking to some of our people, realizing that we're in a worse condition than we thought we were in. Especially going to the Swamis. At least Alvaro Street, there was more like. Some of our teachers, we could do more, I guess we thought it was going to be more influential, you know, reaching out to some people that go to the Alvaro Street, more like, you know, you could say more educated, more schooling involved. But the Swami was also another, you know, where you realize that our people are in bad shape. I mean, there was many stories that come out of the Swami and just attest to the condition of our people. And, you know, that poster, the Mexican non-Hispanic non-Latino, that Arlene developed, someone came up with the idea, I said, you know what, why don't you put this in a t-shirt? And the reason I'm saying, why in a t-shirt? You know, it kind of sounds silly, but actually the guy was onto something. And here's what the Mexican non-Hispanic non-Latino t-shirts. Also, you know, during this time when we create the zapata, I would rather die fighting on my feet than live the rest of my life on my knees. And so we're, you know, at the same time we're educating our people. This is like a lot of information if you really think about it. And so from there comes out the stolen land shirt, the other sorts of shirts that we didn't have time to put in there. But then the knockoff T-shirts start coming up, you know, and you say, well, these guys are copying, and sometimes it became annoying because we used to do all this for fundraising and actually keep the movement going. And sometimes we'll get the competition. Someone will have knockoff shirts like the next aisle over, and we have to go and tell them, hey, you know what, you can't be selling those T-shirts. I mean, you're taking away from us. I mean, we weren't angry because there were, you know, because for us the knowledge is spreading. For us it's fine, you know, we have something with Mexican and Hispanic and Latinos. For us it's okay, it's spreading, it's fine. But when it becomes really insulting when they're there and they're selling, and someone comes and says, hey, you guys are copying from this guy. So, you know, that sort of, I mean, attitude that some of these people had. So it was kind of, in the sense, it was kind of get you like kind of mad. But then you say, well, you know what? It's good that this information is coming out, because I know that it's not just in California; it's different states. They have knockoffs of these T-shirts now, and it's funny because someone posted this video, and it turns out that that shirt came out on the George Lopez show, and given by what's it, actor Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey, he introduces this idiot named George Lopez to some real knowledge the irony to all this, right? And he's telling them, look, this is what I was reading, man. He goes, how do you know that Mexicans are not Hispanic? And he's pointing with his shirt to him. But then, and through the show, this pendejo was just like saying, oh, we're Latinos, oh, we're Hispanics. And the guy's telling him, hey, my brother's married to a Mexicana. And the guy starts talking Spanish to him. I mean, because the guy's probably more Mexican now than George Lopez now. In this conversation, I don't even care about George Lopez anymore. I'm looking at this Matthew McConaughey going, how could we make him to where he comes in and promotes some of our stuff, you know? Because this guy's good. You know, so anyways, that I had to put that in there. And so anyway, that whole Matthew McConaughey, that's like 2013 and 2012 somewhere around. So here we have the Chicano Resource Center. And I didn't know this, but Olin during the 60s, there were some events that took place here. You know, the whole Chicano riot, the so-called riots, and the whole Chicano movement. You know, where our people were protesting basically the injustices and the whole thing with the Vietnam War. And it turns out that this building here is actually kind of new compared to the building where the original lecture started at. It's right in the corner there. So this is like when I started also participating in, that's around 1996. But Olina already started in 1993. And he was talking about, you know, come to these lectures, for me it was overwhelmingly, because I was excited, like, wow, is there someone actually talking about this? Mind you, already, you know, the handbook and everything, but it was something that our people came in and really, you know, once they walked out with a good sense of identity, a good sense of knowledge and who they were as a people. And so here we talked about the failure of the so-called Mecha, Chicano studies, politicians, artists, etc. Our connection to this past, to the foods we ate, the Nica-Tlaca, you know, languages that they're sprinkled in the Spanish language that we use today, and just an amazing array of stuff. It was just unbelievable. So around this time, 3 years later, we opened the Bosch, the office in East LA, kind of like across Roosevelt High School, the biggest high school in where the majority, almost 100% of are Nica and Tlaca. And we had lectures. You know, we had at one time we had Nahuatl classes. We had a vast collection of books there, and we had this office open about close to 5 years. And you know, once in a while you get people walking in there, and either sometimes to attack us, or sometimes just to try to challenge us, you know, on our stance of why we weren't Hispanic, or why we were not doing danza, or why we were, you know, that sort of thing. But it wasn't a total success. I mean, because, you know, we thought more people were going to come, and I guess during this time we were thinking that I guess also with the Mexica Handbook, thinking that once our people read this information, I mean, our people are going to be really pissed off, and everybody's going to want to come in and participate, and, you know. So we were thinking the same thing for the office. Okay, everybody's going to come in infuriated and pissed off. All right, why is it that we're, and we were, you know, opened and, you know, pretty much callado. But we were there. We were there, and then we used it as an office, a meeting space, and we met, we talked, even amongst our members, we talked about history, obviously very important. We talked about the condition of our people, and, you know, so it did work out in that way. So during this time, this Road to Toaldorado comes out, and someone, I think, walked in with this poster and said, look at that movie they're gonna make or something. It was like, wow. So we were kind of thrown back. It turns out it was this vendido again. Edward James Olmos. Not only was he, you know, already participated in American Me, which basically glorify the whole gang, and if anything, it fanned the flames of gang life. And here comes Olmos, who was going to portray this so-called Tlatoani. He was going to make the voice of, so we decided, you know what, we got to protest this guy. And you see one article written by Amin, Toaldorado has no respect for history. 2000, press release was sent out. We wanted to get in touch with the creators of this abomination, which is Steven Spielberg. So in one of these articles, almost is quoted as saying, "See, we got to learn to laugh at ourselves." It's like for us, it's like, we laughed already. This bandito wants to keep making a mockery of our people. So we protested this guy, not only because of this movie, but his past things that he's done, crimes, as far as America mean. Obviously, the guy promoted Hispanic and Latino. He was comfortable with it too. Creates America mean. Doesn't hire our people to play significant roles, because if you look at some of the movies where he comes out, he has a say in this. He doesn't hire some of our people. He hires Puerto Rican. Nothing against Puerto Ricans. Something against Cubans. Yes, he hires Cubans. He hires other non-Tlacaelel people. So we're challenging this guy. So we boycotted also the film festival, because that's another event that almost had. Dreamworks. One of the first also protests is like the Elton John appearance, because he had the voice. They used his voice or a song.
No, the music.
The music. So we had our hands full. We got attacked. They were trying to provoke us because, how dare you come and challenge this whole, and people laughed at us. I mean, we were there in their face, and, it's just something that Eddie almost would not, I'm sure he had some pesadillas. Because we're everywhere he went, we followed him, and we made sure that he was going to know the monstrosity he was engaged in. And someone was telling me one day that they saw an interview where they're interviewing almost. He said, "Man, the Mexica Movement, you guys are getting to him. They're interviewing this guy, and he's talking, and then all of a sudden he changes the conversation. And he said, 'We are Latinos and Hispanics.'" But he's still aggressive pushing this. So here you have the interview and opinion. He said, "No me molesta la etiqueta de Latino." One of the first protests we did was that he was at the library in Whittier. That was like, for him, it was like, what's going on? So we protested him over 30 times. And during this time, here you have another challenge for us, defending Emiliano Zapata. Where you had Antonio Banderas, a Spaniard, to play the role of Emiliano Zapata, by another bandido, actually friends to this bandido, Gregory Nava. And then another, this is a Disney movie, by the way. And so we're like, oh man, now we're really tied down now. So if this bandido's almost is doing something over there, we gotta go and separate ourselves, break ourselves into groups, and go protest him. But at the same time, we gotta go protest Disney. And this is 1999, 2000, 2000 and 2001. So we're protesting in front of Disney for over a year. You could imagine the white people driving through there and just hating it, or hating us, because they're looking at us as Indians. How they dare disrespect us, disrespect Disney. and it was just it was some effort. We were there, and then I think after 9/11, the whole thing after 9/11, we were saying, I think we just better. I think you decided to just
cool it.
just to cool it down, because they said, well, now if we were getting thrown, if stuff was being thrown at us, I think this time it's going to be something more. So we said, you know what, we better just stay back a little bit. And then when we initiated again the protest, and this time we went to Lion King, the Pantages Theater. And for over a year, then we realized there was a stop, and the whole project was killed, and $20 million invested. So you could imagine someone was really pissed off at us. No, these people are not going to go anywhere. For over a year, constantly, almost every weekend sometimes. It could have been 2 days, Saturdays and Sundays.
Just at the beginning.
At the beginning.
Just one day.
So sometimes we had 30 people, and sometimes we had less, but our signs were there, and one of the images, I think we have it somewhere, where we actually had Mickey Mouse as doing a Sieg Heil with Adolf Hitler, so that was very disturbing to little white kids. Or how disrespectful that is, little Mickey Mouse as a Nazi. So it turns out that the descendants of Emiliano Zapata, they hear this and they say, you know what, that is so true. So here we have, they send some type of un comunicado, where they're talking about yes, Zapata should be played by a Mexican, should be played by someone with indigenous features, and concurring to what we had done. So for us, it was like, see, we're doing the right thing. Nobody else is challenging this. Not even the Zapatistas or people that are supposedly for our people defending Zapata. They didn't come out to defend Zapata. We were there defending Zapata. Because, of course, the importance of Emiliano Zapata, and we use him as one of our heroes. But also, the Los Angeles magazine made a 12-page or 10-page article where it talks about the curse of Zapata, and this guy actually did a great job. And in one of the pages, he talks about, he said, well, there's only one group of people who's actually challenging this, and that's the Mexica Movement. No other group is doing this because they're saying something that other people are too scared to say. And as it turns out, it's an interesting article. I think we have it here. You could also Google it and just read it. But basically, they're saying it's like, they've been trying to do the Emiliano Zapata movie for many times. And this Sinvergüenza, Antonio Banderas, was a Spaniard. Even though in this one article he says, well, I'm a leftist, Emiliano Zapata was a leftist, I side with this guy. He actually talked, in the Curse of Zapata, they're basically saying, yes, these white complected looking people, they want to make a movie of, how come they don't pick someone else? Some of their heroes. So, as it turns out, towards the very end, Antonio Banderas actually plays Pancho Villa. So people were saying, hey, well, how come you guys didn't protest that? Well, how come you didn't help? I mean, there's only so much that we could do. Turns out that we didn't even realize how, this guy moved quick and actually did Pancho Villa. So that goes to show, the terrible condition our people are in. I mean, someone could have told them, if someone had a little bit of dignity and honor, and they could have said, you know what? No, you're not going to do that. Because I'm sure he dealt with some of our people. So anyways, that was another pretty terrible thing, but, as like I said, we could only do so much. And then here comes Salma Hayek. And it turns out that there was some other movies of Frida, you know, other people wanted to play Frida, and there was like Madonna, Jennifer Lopez. And it sounded like they demanded that Frida should be played by a Mexican. But given the chance to produce the movie herself, she hired Europeans to play Diego Rivera and David Alvaro Street. And Diego Rivera played by Alfred Molina, Spanish and Italian, born in England. Alvaro Street was played by Antonio Banderas, again Banderas. We began ticketing in October 2002. We at the, I believe is a Lenny or one of these they're not like franchise theaters, but that was like the first where they're gonna do they're gonna show her movie. We protested. We came out on La Jornada. We came out on Telenotas, you know, just like a gossip magazine, kind of like they sell at the counter when you're going to check out in stores, markets. So here we have another, you know, project for us. Another again defending the heroes of our people. And then when they're not chasing bandidos, we're actually promoting our history. And this is the time where Anáhuac Studies is born in 2004 in Milac. And from there we also, you know, begin to protest Columbus right in the corner of Cesar Chavez and Atlantic. And we do events. We invite Fermín Herrera. This is like when we start also doing the Mexica on February 2nd, Mexica New Year. We start celebrating this important date. And so anyways, we have the articles in the newspaper clippings to prove and think about the stuff that we did. Anáhuac Studies and NILAC was pretty much challenging Latino studies now in there. And there were some occurrences that happened there with some bandidos who did not like what we were doing. But nevertheless, we were there and we challenged them. Anyway, so the Nahuac mural, the idea and planning begins in 1995. And the Nahuac mural was, for me, it was just like the way it started for me, it was just what I knew. After, you know, meeting this one friend, I was telling you that he said, well, you know, we have more history. I started attending the meetings. The first meeting was at someone's house, and I remember asking this friend, like, when are you going to invite me? He goes, no, we don't have, today we're not going to have a meeting for like 3 months from now. And the meetings weren't like, you know, I mean, there was no internet, there was a phone, but, you know, you could only do so much through the phone. And finally one day that he goes, okay, there's going to be a meeting at such a day, and I go, give me the address. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to give you the address. So he gives me the address, and I ended up going somewhere in I think it was Orange, Anaheim. So I kind of walk in there, and like, this is the first time I meet all. For me, I think I even took a friend. It's interesting because everybody brings friends. When we meet people, we always bring like this one friend that like they think we're okay. Well, you watch my back. This is not real. I think I took this friend. Anyway, so I walk in there and like, you know, we're just looking around. There's like a few people sitting there, and I think they're talking about the website. And I interrupted this meeting. I walked in there and I just make myself listen. I'm just watching. So this is it, huh? So it was kind of interesting. So anyways, the mural planning begins in 1995. You know, obviously I didn't know too much history, and then like I invite him after that, and he comes and he's looking at the mural. And, okay, that's okay. So he's like, and then I'm looking, wow, you know. He goes, oh, you're doing what you think you know best, you know. And then at this point, I already had kind of read the Mexica Handbook, so it was kind of I had to go back and do a lot of changing, a lot of because I had fallen into the whole Mexican independence lie, and I had something related to Mexican independence, so I had to go back and modify, had to go back and redo some other stuff, and so anyways, so officially we end the mural in March, February 2nd, 2003, after 6 years and a whole bunch of stories that went with working on the mural, because it was work. We were working at night. We were working on a Friday night to like Saturday afternoon, and then protests, and then other stuff, and then so it was kind of like the time was like, okay, well, talk to me. ¿Qué me vas a decir ahorita? Porque I'm busy, So it was that sort of thing. But it ended, and it became one of the biggest. It became one of the biggest murals, probably in the world, pertaining to our history. And it's not recognized by the Mural Conservancy. I submitted 2 applications and never recognized it. With Judith Baca, who created one of the biggest murals in LA on the Tahunga Wash, knows about it but doesn't want to recognize it. She painted this mural like in the 70s. Several gangs actually participated painting this mural, but she heads the Spark, which is in Santa Monica or Venice, and it's to preserve murals. So okay, so here's a mural, or even the Mural Conservancy, they just don't want to touch it. And the thing is with Roosevelt, the reason it's actually functioning there is because it started with a different idea. It wasn't going to be what it is right now. It started with the accomplishments of Mexican Americans and Chicanos. So the idea was very different. In fact, I had to find the actual ideas because we asked students, okay, well, if you wanna lay down your idea, here's your chance of what do you want on the mural. And I have the list somewhere. So everybody started writing stuff. You can imagine the stuff that people wanted to write. I mean, people wanted on the mural. Obviously, it's not there, but gangs holding signs, holding dos pandillas holding each other. I mean, some real events. Teddy bear in there, in the whole mural. They wanted a teddy bear. Other logical stuff, So like, but I mean, that's what we've been taught. Obviously, if our people knew some history, they'd say, why don't you do this? Why don't you put this? But anyway, so that begins in March of 1996 and ends 6 years, 7 years later. And we've gone back over the years and just to clean it over because they tag on it, And that was precisely why I wanted to put it in the Mural Conservancy, because they use some special stuff to maintain the mural and keep it clean. So 2003, before this I was reading Opinion, and I was never a writer. I mean, I wrote really crappy. My wife is always complaining, no sabes escribir. Otra vez me estás escribiendo mal. Okay, well, then I'm writing in English, and I knew something to write in Spanish, but then I gotta go back and tengo que escribir con acento. Oh man. So I'm reading this one article one day, and this guy's talking about the Jewish. He's talking about the Cubans. And this is the Yaocuicatl guy, right? He has he writes for Opinion. He's writing about los cubanos, esta gente, estos cubanos de Miami. Mira, es un ejemplo para los latinos. Mira, ellos tienen esto, tienen lo otro. Cuando llegan, ellos son bien educados. Ellos sobresalen. But then, of course, the guy doesn't know the history. These are the Cubans that fled Cuba, but were highly educated. And these are the Cubans that were basically the kings in Cuba, the people that exploited the black population in Cuba. So So I was like, oh man, so I drafted this stuff and I've been told with a lot of mistakes. I'm like, oh, how am I gonna send it? So another one came up and then well, this time I'm gonna send it. And then we don't have it here, but Olin made a press release one time talking about the whole Hispanic and Latino, which you'll see there in one of the books, but the whole challenging. There was a wave of attacks that came from these so-called Latinos and writers, and you had people from National Council of La Raza, all these people attacking, but not directly. But we knew where the attack was coming to. So that was one of the first, one of the articles was like, I was challenging this whole National Council of La Raza, Raúl Izaguirre, because he said, see, those Latinos, they come in different colors. You know, someone was dark, someone might be Zapoteco, someone was Spanish, and the vendido approach. So that's how the first article, and then after another one was colonialism. And the reason I'm making an emphasis of this is because it was really the first time that we were actually questioning this. I mean, as far as the Spanish language newspapers and coming out, because we were talking about. See, the thing is with Opinión, it's like we were surprised that it was actually coming out. We were surprised they were actually printing this. Like, Olin's always saying, maybe there's someone in there that actually agrees with us, but they're just, he said, well, let them do it. You know, let them, be the bad guys. Because we started talking about our people dyeing their hair, our people, el enemigo de adentro, and that's a good article there. So anyways, there's over, I think, 30 articles published. I sent over 60, but only half of them had gotten printed. And actually, I developed the writing skills now for the whole Spanish. And ya sé lo que les gusta, because they like controversy, I think that's really why they printed, because I save also the attacks that come from, ese está loco, ¿qué está hablando ese Nelyollotl? ¿Qué nombre es ese? You can imagine. Our people were like, someone's reading this and this is so. So, but that's our work. That's what we got to do, and this is the stuff that it has to be done. Even going to the Spanish language so-called media. So here at Baldwin Park, we one day realized that there was a Minutemen in the SOS were going to come to our community directly and attack. So this is I think the second protest we did at Baldwin Park. It really got crazy there. People started throwing stuff, and then there was a bunch of cops protecting them, because it turns out a lot of people actually showed up. And here you have several of the people that started the SOS. It's SOS Save Our State. You remember in 2005 the Minutemen started coming around, and basically it was like a big thing, because now they're coming into a community and they're saying, "Oh, we're going to deport all of you guys." And it's like, where's the gangs? Where's the La Mara Salvatrucha? Where's White Fence? All these gangs that they're defending our people, or the big pandillas. I fight for my raza. Hey, here it is. Here's the opportunity. These people are talking shit about us. They're in your barrio. But no, nothing. It was just us with signs and shouting at these racists, and we follow these racists to different parts. Baldwin Park, Buena Park, Glendale. Buena Park was interesting because they're protesting something. Someone finds out that these racists are going to be there, and we were there unexpected. They didn't know. So that was another interesting challenge for us, protesting these racists. And then we were also on the LA Times. It also came out on Fox News, quotations. They're pissed off because all of a sudden we're making the white man look, what they've always been, invaders on our land. So this is the one image that he put up. Oh, look at this. They're talking about white people, how criminal they've been. So check out when you get have time, check out it's one of on our YouTube channels. You also get attacked on the KABC white supremacist radio. It's the AM. They're attacking this article, and mostly on the mural because they're calling for the whitewashing of the mural. They're saying it should be taken out. And I want to talk about this because it comes in with the other slide. And the only reason I want to make an emphasis on this is because we gotta explain this to people, because some of our people they become just very aggressive, and the whole it's nothing against. I mean, seriously, whoever gets aggressive or whoever thinks about this and says, oh, well, esto, and there's something wrong mentally with our people. And this is the whole thing about some Afrocentrics or black people claiming that Olmecs are African. It's not all black people. This is widespread. It's like some sort of enfermedad that's being pushed in their community too. So that's like a very emotional for some people. It becomes very emotional. Oh, ¿por qué están diciendo esto? And then our people start using the N-word and stuff like that. So those are people we don't want to talk about or talk to, because it's like two communities fighting, two communities that have been oppressed, two communities that have been enslaved, two communities, So, but we got to actually point out to the people that are actually promoting this. And this is very important because they had a display here in 2010, Black Month, and they had the Olmec exhibit. And it's just amazing the stuff we saw. It's just unbelievable. And here in fact, I took one of my sons there, and we were walking, and I told him, don't be surprised if you see a lot of black people here. What? What do you mean? Yeah, because they claim that the Olmec belonged to them, or they're part of the Olmec. And it turns out that they had a symposium where Dr. Cole spoke, and they had a panel of people there. And here you have, for the most part, it was white people in the symposium, but there was a lot of our people. And here you have Chicano studies professors, Chicano studies, all these people, they're supposedly defending our people. Okay? Not one of them stands up and defends on our heritage, because it's being stolen by these fools, these Afrocentrics. And O'Neill gets up and says, at one time it wasn't that we came from Mars, the UFOs came and helped us, and now it's this. And now at one time it was like the lost tribes of Israel, other dumb things that people have created over time, trying to explain our existence here. So anyway, so this is where O'Neill gets up and defends this, but this time vendidos are shouting, and they get up. I don't know, I guess it must have been like 40 vendidos just leave the place. And instead of saying, you know what? Instead of siding with us and saying, that's right, you know what do you be talking about the Olmec being African? It's not about that, it's not this. So it was like a good test case to see where our people stand when they should defend our heritage. So anyways, we make a wonderful connection with Dr. Cole. And because Dr. Cole was there, he recognizes O'Neill and he goes, I like that guy. So the following time, Dr. Cole was O'Neill, like he known him for, and so we have this beautiful relationship with him, and he goes, sure, come and record me, and start talking about the history. He realizes, he goes, wow, where have these guys been? Because he's seeing that, man, these people actually talk some sense. So anyways, he was, sure, do some recording, yeah. And so anyways, it was a beautiful, beautiful connection with Dr. Cole. And, the Yaocuicatl Tlacaelel YouTube channels, we gone to different archaeological sites to encourage our people, at least once in your life, visit one of these archaeological sites. It's almost like the Hajj and the Arabs do, with pilgrimage that they do, and they go and they visit one archaeological site at least in their life, or they go to Mecca. I'm talking about Mecca or Medina, one of the sacred sites for Islam. And so anyways, we have YouTube channels. We now created the Yaocuicatl University, which we emphasize some of our people that are members to join and produce something that, you know, with facts and stuff like that. So we could create this beautiful Yaocuicatl Tlacaelel University on the internet, and so people could be more informed. These are just the accomplishments that we've done over the years. You gotta, I think, make more space, because there's a lot more stuff that we actually done, and it's not here. But sometimes it's just we just forget so many things that we've done over the 20 years. The media coverage, obviously, is another important thing. The outreach is definitely. There's some stuff that we haven't, like I said, we haven't put in. There's so many things that we've done over the 20 years. The activism, what we've done, and material that we created, and other actions that we've taken for the defense of our culture and our people. The media coverage, and also we went to Arizona to protest the SB 1070, and here's where we met the wonderful people from Arizona. Here we have from media. So they come all the way from Arizona. They participated over the years with us over there, and just the hospitality. We've gone back and forth. Look at the actions that they've taken over there. It's just amazing. And here's where we try to connect with some more of our people. What was interesting here is the Yaocuicatl Tlacaelel in Europe. These people are amazing, and if you haven't seen some of their work, and it's Nemekene and Apahuma, and it's just something that eventually we're gonna do something else with them here shortly. But it's just the connection. Imagine someone in London going into white people and telling them, the white people are, what? I mean, and it's just what they've done. It's just really unbelievable. Their words, their power, just their logic, their conversation. These are the people that we encourage our people to become. You know, these are the heroes and promoters of our heritage and culture. And these are obviously they're more focused on Tamantinsuyo, but we actually officially. They're our chapter in the Mexica Movement chapter in London, out of all places, huh? No in Tijuana, no Mexico City, in London. So anyways, then we have the Idol No More, East LA, and then that's another action that we've taken in defense of our people in Canada. The government over there, what they're trying to do and what they've done, and it's just really sad. I mean, too bad we don't have enough time to talk about this, but we also have a campaign, racist campaign against the American Latino Museum. You got to keep this and know, because these people are actually trying to create this museum where they're going to glorify the Spanish on our land, where they're going to. It's almost the Jewish people making a museum and glorifying the Nazis. Think about it that way. And this is the campaign that we developed, and we did like a cyber protest where all of us got together at a certain time. We're going to drown their pages with stuff, and we basically forced ourselves into their event, and we talked about this, and there was a lot of individuals there who se quedaron asustados, and you can see this video actually on YouTube. We have it. So 20 years have gone by, and we hope it's another Sempuali years and another Sempuali after that, and we encourage a lot of our people, you here, that to become involved, and because remember, another 20 years are going to go by real quick, and if you don't take advantage of this, or you didn't teach this to your kids, you don't teach us, then we don't want to one day wake up and there's no Mexica Movement. And also Comati for your attention.
That's a lot of history, right? And I think we as members forget, we're talking to Oli, and it's like, man, oh yeah, we did protest them. Oh yeah, we did go there. So and then through social media now, right, with Facebook and all that, it's a lot more easier for us to be able to document it. But back when we were protesting Edward James Olmos and Toaldorado, we didn't really have, these tools, so we're like, we have the pictures somewhere, we're gonna digitize the film and all that. So that's one of the great advantages of having social media and us participating in that.